Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be listening from in the world. Okay, if you've been kind of following my channel, you will have been following along with reading of the Financial Matrix and How to Escape It by Orrin Woodward. I've found it very enjoyable. I'm at the end of it. This is the last appendix in the book that I'm going to be reading, and then we'll conclude this book with some comments. There, I don't know. Oh. All right. I don't know if that cut out on everybody or not. Having some problems with my computer. I think I definitely need some work on it. But anyway, so I'm going to continue with reading Appendix 3, What is Money? So the creation of money. Money was created by society as the most marketable commodity to use as society's medium of exchange. This improved the speed at which goods and services were traded in a win-win fashion within society. This benefited all producers of goods. Precious metals, in particular gold and silver, were the preferred forms of money because they were scarce, easily divisible, mobile, and universally recognized. And since precious metals have a fixed quantity, they cannot be created out of thin air and are difficult to mine, inflation, any increase in the total money supply, was low and predictable. Indeed, the rebirth of the gold standard commodity money fueled the growth of capitalism by increasing the division of labor and trade between peoples. Remarkably, for nearly 400 years, commodity money led to the creation of more wealth for more people than at any time in recorded history. Of course, the aristocrats attempted various methods to manipulate the money supply, debasement and fractional reserve banking, but the gold standard tied their hands. Indeed, any time the people suspected the aristocrats of foul play, they could demand all payments in gold, forcing the aristocrats to pay in commodity money rather than in fraudulent increased paper debt money. The gold standard acted as an automatic regulator to protect the masses against the manipulation of the elites because it forced the elites to redeem their paper debt money in gold commodity money whenever the paper holder demanded it. This on-demand gold standard redemption policy tempered the aristocrats' inflation manipulation ability because the elites feared the masses would cause a run on their banks if they suspected fraudulent overprinting of paper notes compared to actual gold reserves. The gold standard was the last line of defense to protect the people from the elite's matrix of control over the third factor of production, which is capital. Unfortunately, with the start of World War I, the elites finally smashed through the gold standard and achieved their 400-year objective, the birth of the financial matrix through control of the third factor, production, capital. The liberty that had expanded for 400 years now began its long contraction in the vice grip of fiat debt money, money not backed by precious metals, and fractional reserve banking. True, the wealth created over those 400 years was not lost overnight, but slowly, painfully, inexorably, debt money replaced commodity money and control replaced liberty. Economist Ludwig von Mises noted, just as the sound money policy of gold standard advocates went hand in hand with liberalism, free trade, capitalism, and peace, so it's inflationism part and parcel of imperialism, militarism, protectionism, statism, and socialism. For example, in the chart below, notice how under the gold standard the money supply inflated with fractional reserve banking, but also contracted when the people refused paper and demanded gold. So they have a little chart here showing with the gold standard the the chart goes up and down, up and down, up and down in a regular fashion along one pretty much static line. But with the fractional reserve banking, the line stays stable until they got rid of the gold standard, and then it just spikes up to the clouds, basically. So, however, once central banks' paper replaced gold, deflation was a thing of the past, and the money supply has skyrocketed as displayed in that chart. The gold standard, in sum, checked the worst behaviors of the bank and protected the people. This, in essence, is why the big banks lobbied for a central bank and the end of the gold standard, for the gold standard inhibited their ability to inflate the money supply and defraud the people. The aristocrats' financial matrix created a system of indirect control of the masses' labor through the direct control of the medium of exchange, money, needed by all using the capitalistic system. One can easily see the damage caused by the financial matrix by studying the low value of the US dollar since the 1913 creation of the Federal Reserve banking system in the United States. The value of $1 in 1913 is less than 4 cents today, as displayed in the previous graph. So yeah, that concludes appendix as to what is money. So money used to be based on, it was a medium of exchange based on a commodity, which around the world was gold and silver was recognized as a valuable commodity. It was rare for many, many years. And it never really lost its value. It maintained its value over time, and maintained its value no matter where you lived, what your locality, what your country was. So that kept the money system, the system of exchange, in a fairly stable place for exchanging goods and services for many, many years until 1913 when the Federal Reserve came. And we can see today, right now, here we are in March of 2020, the economic crash, this fiat system, debt money system, is unmanageable over a long period of time. You can only inflate or deflate the value of the dollar so far before the whole system comes crashing down. And that's what's happening. And in my opinion, that's what this big coronavirus is masking a massive global economic crash. It's the standard, look over here, not there. Don't look there, look over here. And so while everybody is freaking out about a virus, the global monetary system is crashing down around before our very eyes. I'm in a what's considered a have-not province, a poor province of Canada, New Brunswick. And the economy here has pretty much been run by an oligarch, two families that pretty much run the whole province, all the industry in the province. And it's really, there's a lot of small businesses and that sort of thing, but it's not a prosperous province because the oligarchs suck every dime out. Most small businesses, when they start getting to be medium size, the oligarch family swoops in and starts a business to compete with them, undercuts them, and generally puts that business either out of business or it keeps them to a point where they can't progress and grow any farther. And you find that with the monetary system here as well. There's not a lot of opportunity for young people. Most people leave the province. They go and find better wages, better job opportunities, better career opportunities. And so you'll see, if you drive around our province, a lot of the little small farms that used to be very prosperous here years ago when I was a child, back in the late 50s, early 60s. Most of those little farms are abandoned. The house may still be lived in by the descendants, or they may have sold it off and people live in the house, but they don't really work the land. And that's where our prosperity used to come from. That's where the whole agricultural system here in the province is what made this province great to begin with. But I think you find that in a lot of places in the world. And it is directly related to this money system, the debt money system. It's been so easy to get debt, to buy a nice house in the town. I kind of think it's a fantasy that when you buy a house that you have the idea that it's going to increase in value, and so the money that you spend on it is going to be money well spent. One thing I have learned from this, from Orrin Woodward and this financial fitness program, is that yes, you can go into debt for a house, for land, for whatever you want. But unless that, what you call an asset, is making money for you, it's not actually an asset, it's a liability. And so you're not only do you owe the bank money, you have to pay them back for that money you borrowed, but you also have to pay them back interest on that money. And the other thing that many people, if you've gone through and listened to all the videos here, the readings of this Financial Matrix book, I'd encourage you to go back and listen to them, because it explains in each chapter a little bit more about this matrix, this financial matrix that the oligarchs, you can call them the elite, you can call them the oligarchs, you can call them whatever, the controllers, whatever. There's a small group of people in our world, fewer than you would think, that basically control all the monetary systems of the world. And money is meaningless to them. It's the control that's meaningful to them, I think. But here we are, and we're borrowing money, we're putting ourselves in debt, and we're worrying about how to pay the bills. And in the meantime, we're going out, we're working hard, we're spending many, many hours of our time earning an income, earning a living, what we call earning a living. We put time and effort into gaining those dollars, into gaining that income, that money, so that we can pay for our house, pay for our car, feed our families, have a little bit of fun. And so we're kind of we work. Our time, or what is valuable to us, is our time. We're spending a lot of our time to bring in that income. And in the meantime, all those things that we are spending our money on is home, roof over your head, vehicle to get to work, feeding our families, paying for the bills like phone and all those utilities and those sorts of things. And with the little bit that we have left over, most people end up spending it on whatever their entertainment of choice is. And one of the things you'll have noticed in these videos is that very, very few people take saving seriously, take getting out of debt seriously, because they don't understand that the money that they've borrowed actually didn't exist before they borrowed it. It's created out of thin air by computers. And it should be illegal, really, but it's not. The oligarchs have the power to do that. They can create this money out of thin air, but we have to spend our time and our energy and our effort to pay that money back. And then we pay that money back with interest. So we're paying back interest on this money that didn't previously exist, because it's not based on gold. It's not based on silver. There's nothing that money that they created, it's not based on anything except trust. And the more you trust that system, those oligarchs, the more indebted, the more you will have to work to pay that back. So in the system that we're at, the only way that you can get out of it, number one, is to get out of debt. Totally get out of debt. It's a hard thing to do. My next videos are going to go into steps to quickly get out of debt, or get out of debt as efficiently as you can. And I know right now it's going to be extremely difficult for many people to pay their bills, because a lot of people with this whole social distancing crap can't even go to work. They can't even earn an income. And I'm sure there are many people right now who are sweating because we are March 28th and mortgages are going to be coming due, rents are going to be coming due, and there have been people who have been out of work who aren't going to have a paycheck to pay for the mortgage or the rent or whatever the bills are coming out. And so it's almost like you're got hands around your throat choking you. However, and that's another thing, being in debt. What do you do when you have all these, you've got these bills, you went into debt, and then now the system is crashing, jobs are disappearing, people can't go to work. So this is a perfect time to really emphasize how important it is to get out of debt as quickly as possible. Now, I've noticed in my region that there are some places that are looking for workers desperately, and those are in like grocery stores. And I'm actually thinking about going and applying for a job just to get a little extra money in this time before I get back to my seasonal job. But if you can find another part-time job right now, go get it and slap every dime of that against your debt. That is my advice. You do what you want, of course. You'll have to make your own decisions that way, but it is almost imperative that you get out of debt as quickly as possible. Right now, here we are in 2020, coronavirus has the whole world shut down. I'm suspecting that's going to be lifting very shortly. The UK just announced that they're downgrading the severity of the virus. And I heard that I have to go searching today to do a little more research. I heard there was another country in Europe that was downgrading it as well. So it will come to an end. Cold and flu season is going to end. It does. It kills millions, or not millions, but thousands of people every year. But this is the first year that apparently this is a killer virus that's killing less people than it ever did before, but whatever. That's, again, my opinion, but it's going to end, and we're going to have a brief reprieve. And so what I would suggest that you do, if you can at all do it, is bring in more income and get rid of your debt as quickly as possible. If you have, and this again is part of my my whole training in the financial system, in the banks, and dealing with network marketing with this program. If you can at all earn extra income and put it against debt and get as much of it done away with as quickly as possible, you will be in a better shape, because it's my feeling, I have a sneaking suspicion that this coronavirus is just the first slate of plagues that the world is going to experience. The financial system, it's not going to crash all at once like it did in 1929. I have a feeling it's going to take a while to for the system to totally reset. Hard to say. That's just my feeling from watching the stock markets and so on and so forth. But my advice is to get yourself prepared, because I think this is just the first slate. And it really does emphasize how important it is to be free of debt, so that you are free when crises and like this happen. So anyway, that's my 2 cents for today. You truly are in bondage if you are in debt. And so, yeah. So I'm going to end that for today. I'm going to stop talking. So again, you can find me on my website, www.healthyandwell.ca. That's HEALTHYANDWELL.ca. And you can find me there. All right, that's it for today. The next video is going to be starting on the steps to help you get out of debt quickly, different tactics and tips and tricks that you can use. All right, peace out. See you on the next one.